Hello guys, welcome to you all in my YouTube channel A New Sunrise. In this video, I'm going to discuss chapter 2 of class 8 science, that is microorganisms, friends and foe. I'm going to give you all some notes and also going to explain you the chapter. In one video I have already discussed some topics related to the chapter. In this video I'm going to discuss the other leftover topics that were not able to be completed in my previous video. So let's start with it guys. First of all, let's see what are the topics that we are going to cover in this video. First is harmful microorganisms. Second is food preservation. Third is nitrogen fixation. And fourth is nitrogen cycle. And fifth, after all of these, we are going to revise through some questions. First topic, harmful microorganisms. Microbes are harmful in many ways. Some of the microorganisms cause disease in human beings, plants, and animals. Such disease causing microorganisms are called pathogens. Some microorganisms spoil food, clothing, and leather. So let us study some more about these harmful microorganisms. More about pathogens. Pathogens means the harmful microorganism, disease causing microorganisms. Pathogens enter our body through the air we breathe, the water we drink, or the food we eat. They can also get transmitted by direct contact with an infected person to a healthy person or carried by an animal. Microbial diseases that can spread from an infected person to a healthy person through air, water, food, or physical contact are called communicable diseases. Example, cholera, TB, it means tuberculosis, chickenpox, common cold, etc. Next topic is carriers. What are the carriers? The organisms which carry disease-causing microbes or germs from one place to other are called carriers. Example, housefly, mosquito, etc. These are some insects and animals which act as carriers of disease-causing microbes. The carriers sit on the garbage and animal excreta. Pathogens stick to their bodies. When these carriers sit on the uncovered food, they can transfer the pathogens. Female Anopheles mosquito carries the parasite of malaria Plasmodium. Female Aedes mosquito act as carrier of dengue virus. Some common human diseases caused by microorganisms. Tuberculosis, which is caused by bacteria, and the mode of transmission of this disease is air. Measles, or you can say rubella in Hindi, is which causative microorganism is virus and is transmitted through air. Third is chickenpox, which is caused by a virus and it is transmitted through air or through physical contact. Fourth is polio, which is also caused by a virus, which is a viral disease and is usually transmitted through air and water. Fifth is cholera, which is a bacterial disease and is transmitted through water or food. Sixth is typhoid, which is caused by a bacteria and is transmitted through water. Seventh is hepatitis A, which is a viral disease and is usually transmitted through water. And eighth is malaria, which is a protozoan disease, or you can say which is caused by a protozoa. And the transmission, or you can say the carrier of this disease is mosquito. Next topic comes disease causing microorganisms in animals. Several microorganisms not only cause diseases in humans but also in other animals and plants. For example, anthrax caused by a bacterium, foot and mouth disease caused by a virus. Robert Koch discovered the bacterium Bacillus anthracis, which caused anthrax disease in the year 1876. Pathogens in plants. Several microorganisms cause diseases in plants like wheat, rice, potato, sugarcane, orange, apple, and others. The disease reduce the yield of crops. Some common plant diseases caused by microorganisms are citrus canker, which is which is a bacterial disease and is usually transmitted through air; rust of wheat, which is a fungal disease and is usually transmitted through air or seeds; yellow vein, which is a viral disease which is usually transmitted through insects. Yellow vein is also known as mosaic of bhendi, or you can say okra. Poisoning, preservatives, and pasteurization of food. So now let us know about food poisoning. What are the preservatives of food, and what is food pasteurization or pasteurization of food? Illness caused by food contaminated with bacteria, viruses, parasites, or toxins, or toxic substances is called food poisoning. A preservative is a substance or a chemical that is added to food products to prevent decomposition by microbial growth. Pasteurization is a heat treatment process that destroys pathogenic microorganisms in various foods and beverages. Pasteurization was also discovered by Louis Pasteur. Louis Pasteur discovered both fermentation means a conversion of sugar into alcohol, and pasteurization. Next topic comes food preservation. Let us know about what are the different method about food preservation. Salt and edible oil are the common chemicals generally used to check the growth of microorganisms. Sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfate are common preservatives. Common salt has been used to preserve meat, fish, amla, raw mangoes, tamarind, etc. Jam, jellies, and squashes are preserved by sugar. Use of oil and vinegar prevents spoilage of pickles. Next comes nitrogen fixation. Now let us know about what is nitrogen fixation. The process of conversion of free nitrogen gas of the atmosphere into nitrogenous compound and make it available into the soil is called nitrogen fixation. It is done by rhizobium bacteria, blue-green algae, and lightning. Rhizobium bacteria are involved in the fixation of nitrogen in leguminous plant like pulses. Rhizobium bacteria lives in root nodules of leguminous plant such as beans and peas, with which it has a symbiotic relationship. Sometimes nitrogen gas fixed through the action of lightning also. Next topic comes nitrogen cycle. What is nitrogen cycle? First of all, let us look over to the definition of nitrogen cycle. The continuous circulation of nitrogen from air to soil and then to living organisms and again into air is called nitrogen cycle. Now let us have a brief information about what is a nitrogen cycle. Our atmosphere has 78% nitrogen gas. Nitrogen is one of the essential constituents of all living organisms as part of proteins, chlorophyll, nucleic acid, and vitamins. The atmospheric nitrogen cannot be taken directly by plants and animals. Certain bacteria and blue-green algae present in the soil fix nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert it into the compounds of nitrogen. Once nitrogen is converted into these usable compounds, it can be utilized by plants from the soil through their root system. Nitrogen is then used for the synthesis of plant proteins and other compounds. Animals feeding on plants get these proteins and other nitrogenous compounds. When plants and animals die, bacteria and fungi present in the soil convert the nitrogenous waste into nitrogenous compounds to be used by plants again. Certain other bacteria convert some part of them to nitrogen gas, which goes back into the atmosphere, and hence this is the nitrogen cycle. And that is why the percentage of nitrogen in the atmosphere remains more or less constant. In the figure also you can see a flow chart of nitrogen cycle. Now let us look over to the some of the important terms related to the chapter. First is carrier. What is carrier? The organisms which carry the disease causing microbes from one place to other are called carriers. Example: housefly, mosquito, etc. Communicable diseases. The diseases which are caused by microorganisms and can spread from an infected person to a healthy person through air, water, food, or physical contact are called communicable diseases. For example, cholera, common cold, chickenpox, tuberculosis, etc. Nitrogen cycle. The continuous circulation of nitrogen from air to soil and then to living organism and again into air is called nitrogen cycle. Fourth definition is about nitrogen fixation. What is nitrogen fixation? The process of conversion of free nitrogen gas of atmosphere into nitrogenous compound and make it available into the soil is called nitrogen fixation. It is done by rhizobium bacteria, blue-green algae, and lightning. Pasteurization. The method of preserving milk by heating it about 70 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 seconds and then cooling it quickly is called pasteurization. This process was discovered by Louis Pasteur. Pathogen. The disease causing microorganisms are called pathogens. Example: pathogen of malaria disease is Plasmodium vivax. Preservation. The method of killing microorganisms and stopping them from growing again in food and keeping the food for later use is called preservation. Now let us revise this whatever the contents we discussed in this video through some of the questions. Fill in the blanks. First part is the carrier of parasite of malaria is. What's the carrier of parasite of malaria? That is female Anopheles mosquito. Cholera is caused by. In this question, we are asked about which microorganism. This I discussed in the topic some common human diseases caused by microorganism, and we saw there that cholera is a bacterial disease and is usually transmitted through water or food. Therefore, the answer of this question would be bacteria. Dash discovered the bacterium Bacillus anthracis. Who discovered the bacterium Bacillus anthracis? This are discussed in the topic disease causing microorganisms in animal. Robert Koch in the year 1876 discovered the bacterium Bacillus anthracis which causes anthrax disease. Therefore, the answer of the question who discovered the bacterium of Bacillus anthracis would be Robert Koch. Fourth is rust of wheat is caused by which microorganism? In this question, this topic I discussed in some common plant diseases caused by microorganism and there I discussed that rust of wheat is a fungal disease which is transmitted through air or seeds. Therefore, the answer of this question would be fungi. Rust of wheat is caused by a fungi. Next is state whether the following statement is true or false. First is polio is a bacterial disease. False. It is false. Why? I discussed in some common diseases caused by microorganisms, and in that topic, I discussed that polio is a viral disease. Okay, so the answer of this question would be false. Polio is not a bacterial disease, but it is a viral disease. Louis Pasteur discovered both fermentation and pasteurization. So this statement is true. Louis Pasteur both discovered fermentation also and pasteurization also. What is fermentation? The process of conversion of sugar into alcohol is known as fermentation. Okay, and pasteurization, I discussed that it is a process of heating through which we can conserve food. Jams, jellies, and squashes are preserved by oil and vinegar. What would be the answer of this? This would be false. Jams, jellies, and squashes are not preserved by oil and vinegar. Actually, it is preserved by sugar. TB, it means tuberculosis, is an example of communicable diseases. So the statement is truly true. Okay, so tuberculosis is an example of communicable diseases.